Sup guys, it's Brody here from Polytube, my new Pokemon YouTube channel that I'm going to be uploading on from now on, and I'm really excited to start. This is going to be my first video of the new series where I make a fictional generation of Pokemon, which I've been dubbing Generation 7.5. And in this video I'm going to be showing you the starter Pokemon that I put together, and I've been working on this for a really long time now, and I've been really excited to show it to some people, and I can't wait to start. So here we go. So I'm going to be doing the first evolutions of starter Pokemon first, and me and Polly here are going to be showing it to you. So the first starter, which I'm going to show you, is the water type. I would go in order of the Pokedex, so starting with grass, then fire, then water. But I'm going to work backwards because that's kind of in the order of how I like them. So I'll save the best till last. So the first Pokemon I'm going to be showing you is Platius. So yeah, I drew every one of these Pokemon by myself on my preferred program called paint.net. It's not Windows Paint, it's very, very different. It's a really good program with lots of really cool tools and stuff. And I drew the avatar on this as well. But anyway, this is Platius. He is the duck beaver Pokemon, and his type is water. I kept it simple, just water for this one. The grass starter does have a secondary type, and the end evolution of the fire and water both have secondary types. But yeah, so Platius, when professors first discovered this Pokemon, they weren't sure if it was a ducklet or a Bibarel. In the end, they named it as a new Pokemon. This is the kind of the joke that platypuses, when they were originally discovered, people thought that they were like some sort of abomination of nature, and they didn't want to name them as a new animal at first because they thought it was a fake animal. And they said they looked like a duck and a beaver. So yeah, that's kind of where I got that idea. But I'm quite happy with Platius, and it's just his evolutions aren't quite as good as the other ones. That's why I put him first. But on to the fire starter. Okay, so this region's fire starter is Fluffire. So the story of Fluffire is that originally I didn't like him. He was my least favourite of the starters, and I always liked his first evolution and his second evolution. But his final evolution really got on my nerves. It was a complete same as all of the previous fire ones like Ember and Incineroar, where they're just big wrestlers, you know? And I didn't like it. It was pure fire, and I needed it to be two types. So I changed it like halfway through drawing it up properly, and now I love it. It doesn't come into match with what I originally had for the grass starter. That's my favourite, but I still really like him. So anyway, Fluffire. He is the fire squirrel Pokemon, and he's a pure fire type, just like Platius was, just the pure water. This one's pure fire. Okay, and Fluffires live in ash trees. See what I did there? Like, well, there's actually two meanings, because ash is in fire and ash is in the Pokemon Ash. So yeah, two double meaning thing. So they live in ash trees with their family. This can cause problems though, as they are prone to setting the tree on fire. Yeah, so they're not very good at living in the forest. They should probably move to somewhere else, but they like their nuts, as they are squirrels. And the original design, now I'm looking at it, it's actually really different from the one that's drawn up here. I definitely prefer the one that's drawn up here though. It looks a lot cuter and more adorable. Not the original one didn't. But anyway, let's move on to the grass starter. So this region's grass starter, and my favourite starter, is Paw Patch. Now, I'm not sure if Paw Patch is based on a panda or just a bear. I think he's based on a black bear rather than a panda, even though he looks like a panda. And yeah, so he's known as the rock bear Pokemon, and his type is grass rock. So he is yet another dual-typed grass starter like Bulbasaur and Rowlet before him, because Bulbasaur was grass poison and Rowlet was grass flying. And the armoured plating covering his chest and shoulders is made of solid obsidian. Paw Patch also have spikes growing from their heads for protection. So if you don't know what obsidian is, it's like a really hard type of rock that's black, which you can see. And you would know it if you played Minecraft, which I used to play. That's kind of where I got it from. Yeah, so I like Paw Patch. I like him because he originally didn't really have that grassy arms and forehead. I added that to make him look a bit more like a grass type, if you know what I mean. And yeah, so now I'm going to talk about, before I get onto the middle evolutions, what the region of this is based on, because I don't just have the Pokemon, I also have the ideas in my head. So let's get straight into that. So my thought process when thinking about a new Pokemon game will be where and what it will be based on, because we all know that a lot of the regions are based on different places. I know Generation 1, 2, 3 and 4 were all based on different areas of Japan. Generation 5 was based on America, Generation 6 was based on France, and Generation 7 was based on Hawaii. This generation, I decided to base it on Oceania, which is basically the area with Australia, Indonesia and the Pacific Islands. You might have known about that kind of area from watching the film Moana that came out in November. I love that film. So I have a lot of Pokemon like Platypus, as you've seen, that kind of fit into the Australian idea backing this. And I wanted to make it Oceania rather than just Australia, because I have a lot of Pokemon that don't really fit in Australia but would fit in Indonesia. And a lot of the names of the Pokemon actually mean something in Indonesian, or I just mashed two Indonesian words together. The Dragon pseudo-legendary has that, and it has quite a complicated name, but you'll see that in the future. So that's what my thought process was when I was thinking about where it would be based on. Now we're going to have a look at the middle evolutions of the starters we've seen. So let's take a look at Platypus's evolution. So I decided that Platypus's evolution would be standing up, just because I think it adds a bit of contrast to the other middle and final evolutions of the starters. So Platypus's evolution is called Ossipus. So his name fits in with the Australian kind of idea. It's Aussie just because I didn't actually have the idea of where I was going to base it on when I made this Pokemon. I was kind of struggling for names, so I decided to name it after where it came from, which was Australia. And now I decided it's going to take place in something like Australia, so that's what I decided to call it. But anyway, this is the Duck Beaver Pokemon. Its type is water, still plain water. You'll be surprised at what the final evolution's typing is. It's quite different. And Ossipus's tail is 3/4 of the size of the Pokemon itself. Its tail is a formidable weapon and can make swimming an easy task. Because it's going to need to swim. Although, yeah, those clothes-looking things, they are, a lot of Pokemon do wear clothes. I just think they look a little bit strange. This is why it's not exactly my favourite line, but I'm going to keep it just because it's quite good alongside the other two. But anyway, let's move on to Fluffire's evolution. So Fluffire's evolution is probably my favourite of the middle evolutions, just because it's quite cute and I like it. And it is called Charmunk. So Charmunk is a chipmunk, a fiery chipmunk, as you can see, and he likes his acorns. Originally, in his original design, he had a little acorn that he carried around with him, but I saved that for the final evolution and the mega evolution. Yeah, there's mega evolutions for these guys. Okay, Okay, so he is the Fire Squirrel Pokemon, just like Fluffire. His type is still Fire, and I think I actually know the final evolution of Fluffire is a type combination that's never been done before, and people have wanted it for quite a while. But it's just Fire for this one. And a Charmunk superheated bushy tail is perfect for roasting acorns on, so he likes acorns. You can also use it to ward off predators just by waving it around, like shake the chipmunk butt. Anyway, so now we're gonna have a look at Paw Patch's second evolution. Okay, so Paw Patch's middle evolution is actually quite misleading for the final evolution, because final evolution is on all fours, as I've said. But the middle evolution is standing up, so you'd think that it would be standing up the final one, but it's not, so deal with it. Anyway, the middle evolution for Paw Patch, his name is Patchmore. So Patchmore is known as the Rock Bear Pokemon, and his typing is Grass Rock. And I kept him to say, the Paw Patch line doesn't actually change type at all. The final evolution is also Grass Rock as well. But anyway, more spiked were all over Patchmore. His fur is rough and is very helpful with defense, but makes the Pokemon slow. So I know most Pokédex entries don't really talk about the Pokemon stats, but I decided that's what I talk about because it's like a bit more of a talking point than anything else, to be honest. I'm quite happy with how this one turned out. Again, I think this is the best drawn one out of the 9 I've done so far. Anyway, let's move on to the final evolutions. So Platypus's final evolution has a strange type, as I've already said. It's intriguing, and I will explain why it is. But anyway, Platypus's final evolution is known as Platyrant. Okay, so Platyrant. He's very muscular, so you might think he's a fighting type. But no, he is known as the Poison Barb Pokemon, and his type is Water Poison. Now you might be wondering why this is. But in real life, platypuses have poisoned barbs on their wrists and ankles, which are known to be one of the most excruciating pains, like, ever. And so yeah, anyway, the venomous barbs on Platyrant's wrists, ankles, and forehead are formidable and lethal weapons. One swipe can take down an entire Acorn. So yeah, they're one of the most formidable weapons in the Pokemon Kingdom. One of the most poisonous things. So it could have been a fighting type, but I wanted to make it new and quite fresh. I think the only poison water type, there probably is others, but the only one I can remember is Squirrelfish. Funnily enough, it's one of the most forgettable Pokemon. Anyway, now we're going to move on to Fluffire's final evolution. So, Fluffire's final evolution is a first in the Pokemon starter realm of designs, because it is the only, well, it would be the only ever on all fours starter, which is something we've wanted for all time. Because if you think about it, Charizard's standing up, Typhlosion's standing up, a Blaziken's standing up, Infernape's standing up, Emble's standing up, Delphox's standing up, and Incineroar's standing up. They're just all do what they like, and you know what? It's time for change. So, Fluffire's final evolution is Infernape. So yeah, as I have said, the original design for Infernape was a huge wrestler body, a lot like Incineroar actually, and that's one of the main reasons that I changed it. Because Incineroar isn't one of my favourites. I think they could have done a lot of things better with Incineroar, because Torracat's one of my favourite Pokemon, as is Litten, and I think it was too much of a drastic change to become standing up on 4 legs, so that's why I changed him, because I didn't want him to be similar. But anyway, Infernape is known as the Acorn Hoard Pokemon, and his type is very original. It is the Fire Grass type that everyone's wanted for so long, a mix of 2 opposites. Yeah, so the reason is because of his little nut. He lives in the forest, and I could have made him dark type for reasons I'll show you in a minute. But I decided I didn't want to because I didn't want to make him too similar to Incineroar again. Yeah, so Inferno is a rather mean-spirited Pokemon. It collects all of the acorns in the forest and hoards them from all the other forest Pokemon. If they protest, it threatens them with a forest fire. So that's why I could have made it dark, because it's, evil and it hoards all the acorns. But yeah, I'm quite happy with Infernape. And yeah, so let's see what the final evolution for Patchmore is. So in our final Pokemon of this video, we will be exploring one of my favourites in this entire generation. I really like this one, and I hope you do too. It's quite different from Patchmore, but I think it's for the better. So the final evolution of Paw Patch is Grizzlite. So here he is, Mr. Grizzlite himself. So yeah, he's my favourite of the final starter evolutions. Just because he's quite big, bulky and strong. Yeah, so he is still known as the Rock Bear Pokemon, and his type is Grass Rock. Still, I kept it the same throughout the entire line just because that's just what they're like. And the Spine-Covered Grizzlite is much more flexible and agile than its pre-evolutions. It doesn't have all that armor on it. It's quite free, and it has a little thing on its head, but that's about it. So it's a lot faster than the other ones, but with quite a lot less defense. Yeah, so its sharp claws enable it to catch its prey, Whiz Catch and Magikarp. So it's like a grizzly bear more than a panda, right? Like its pre-evolutions. Its pre-evolutions are more panda-like. Its final evolution is like a grizzly bear, which it catches fish with in water. So yeah, that is all of the starters. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the geography of the region and all of that kind of stuff, all of the bigger details. So I'll see you in a second. So when you begin your first Pokemon adventure in this region, which I'll be naming in a second, you will get your starter Pokemon, and your house will be in a place called Ternami Town, in the centre of the mainland Wollongong, which is the place that's based off Australia in this region. And you will go to the lab and get your starter Pokemon like normal, from the Professor Eucalyptus, who is, funnily enough, the same age as your player, which we will explore when we get to some more of the story in a different episode, which I will need to introduce a legendary to kind of get the story rolling. I don't know if I want to do that to the end, so you might have to wait a little bit through all the episodes. But anyway, yeah, so that's how you start the game in Ternami Town. I also want to talk about what the name of the region is. So, the name of the region is the Pulau region, Pulau. And this, I chose this because it means islands, because it's just a bunch of islands, this region. It means islands in Indonesian, and it fits with the 5-letter normality, except for Sinnoh, breaking all the rules Sinnoh is. And yeah, so that's why I'm going to call it the Pulau region in this wonderful new game of Pokemon that I've made up called Pokemon Dusk and Dawn. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.